Bună seara și bine v-am regăsit la webinarele Better Medicine Zenit. Sunt Georgeta Alexandru și mă bucur să ne revedem, iată, astă seară la un webinar în care vom discuta, după cum știți, despre rolul testelor moderne în diagnosticul integrativ. Aș vrea să vă mulțumesc încă de la început că sunteți alături de noi și să vă spun câteva cuvinte despre ce am mai făcut noi în toamna aceasta și ce urmează să facem. Aici, la webinarele Better Medicine Zenit, după cum știți, cei care ați participat, am încercat să oferim cât mai multă informație medicală, informație care să vă ajute ulterior în practica dumneavoastră. Din această toamnă încercăm să trecem la un alt nivel. Încercăm să oferim specialiștilor din România posibilitatea de a participa la cursuri care, sperăm noi, vor schimba nivelul medicinei de aici, din România. Astfel, Better Medicine și Zenit se implică activ în organizarea cursurilor de medicină ortomoleculară susținute de profesorul Harald Stosie din Austria. Profesorul Stosie este un expert recunoscut la nivel internațional în domeniul terapiilor integrative. Tot din această toamnă avem un parteneriat cu doctorul Kamiar Hedayat, o autoritate recunoscută la nivel mondial în domeniul endobiogeniei. Unii dintre dumneavoastră sunteți înscriși deja la cursul de anul acesta al doctorului Hedayat, alții sunt pe cale să se înscrie pentru cursul de anul următor. O parte dintre dumneavoastră probabil ați fost prezenți la începutul lunii octombrie la București, la workshopul susținut de doctorul Hedayat, în care am avut parte de o introducere în endobiogenie și de prezentarea unui studiu de caz. Ei bine, acest ecosistem de sănătate reprezentat de webinarele pe care le facem, de cursurile pe care le sprijinim, încercăm să venim și cu o soluție concretă. Despre această soluție vorbim astă seară. Lansăm cu această ocazie un parteneriat de care ne bucurăm, un parteneriat cu un laborator de top european, laboratorul Biovis din Germania. Sperăm ca webinarul din această seară să fie urmat în 2026 de alte webinare pe alte teme. Suntem onorați așadar să-i avem alături de noi astă seară din partea Biovis pe domnul dr. Heiko Hofmann, biolog, expert în diagnostic funcțional și biologie moleculară, consultant științific în cadrul Biovis, și pe doamna dr. Romina Vardapour, doctor în științe, cercetătoare în domeniul biologiei moleculare și implicată activ în proiecte de cercetare medicală avansată. Welcome! Le mulțumim încă de pe acum pentru pregătirea prezentării din această seară. Despre laboratoarele Biovis o să o las un pic mai târziu pe doamna dr. Gabriela Mathieu să vă povestească mai multe. Eu vă spun doar că este un laborator modern, un laborator de top. Iar întâlnirea din această seară este posibilă și datorită doamnei dr. Gabriela Mathieu. Dr. Gabriela Mathieu este o susținătoare activă a medicinei funcționale la noi. Este medic primar cardiolog și a început cariera în România. Apoi a plecat în Elveția, unde s-a specializat în medicină integrativă, medicină ortomoleculară. Ulterior a venit în România, unde a pus bazele unei clinici moderne, Medclinique din Sibiu, din dorința de a le oferi și pacienților din România acces la terapii moderne, terapii personalizate de ultimă generație. Gabriela este primul medic din România acreditat în medicină ortomoleculară și totodată este inițiatoarea aducerii portofoliului complet Biovis în România. Gabriela va fi moderatoarea discuției din această seară. Cred că Gabriela are ceva probleme tehnice pentru că a dispărut. Gabriela, dacă ne auzi, poți intra din nou? Până când reușim să restabilim legătura cu Gabriela. O să vă mai povestesc un pic despre, o să încerc să vă spun eu câteva cuvinte despre laboratoarele Biovis. Cum spuneam, este un laborator din Germania, un laborator modern de analize medicale, orientat spre medicina funcțională și integrativă. Cu peste 2 decenii de inovație, de cercetare și pasiune, la Biovis, cei care ajung la Biovis beneficiază de diagnosticare la vârf în domenii precum studiul microbiomului, în imunologie, în medicina preventivă. Laboratorul pune accent pe transformarea rezultatelor analizelor în planuri individualizate, în planuri moderne de terapie. Văd că Gabriela nu a reușit să intre. I don't know what happened with Gabriela, so I propose to you to begin, and I will try to help Gabriela. So welcome, Romina Vardapour, and please.
Yeah, thank you very much for the introduction, and welcome everyone to today's talk. We are very pleased to be here. Dr. Heiko Hofmann and myself, we will give a talk about redefining health with modern integrative diagnostics. So first of all, I would like to give you a short overview about my part. So I will start, and then Dr. Heiko Hofmann will continue. My part will cover, first of all, mineral diagnostics, which includes mineral analysis in blood, whole blood mineral analysis. Why is it useful? Then we will also dive into lithium diagnostics, which is a hot topic currently as well. And we will address the question, is testing minerals alone enough? And then I will go to vitamin diagnostics, and I will tell you a little bit about the evolution of vitamin detections, showing you then vitamin profiles. And then, of course, again, we will address the question, is vitamin measurement enough? And we will give an example on vitamin D assessment. So let's start with mineral diagnostics. So if we look at this picture, and here we have a very old-fashioned laboratory because it is from 1890. Luckily, nowadays, our laboratory does not look like this. I mean, back then it was enough. It was sufficient for the tests that were possible back then. But nowadays, we have automized processes in the lab. We have we can have high quantities of samples being analyzed, and we have innovative methodologies and methods in the lab. So luckily we evolved a lot in the last decades. So we can have a look at the mineral analysis in blood. Serum analysis, if you look historically, serum analysis started in the 1950s, and originally atomic absorption spectroscopy was used to analyze serum. Now, often it is analyzed with ICP mass spectrometry. I will explain shortly afterwards how it works. It measures, you can measure minerals in serum to detect deficiency or excesses. And whole blood mineral analysis, on the other hand, became popular in the 1980s, so a little bit later. And initially, it was also atomic absorption spectroscopy was used, or other methods. And now the standard is also ICP mass spectrometry. So what happens here? The whole blood is analyzed, including the cells. So we have a detailed view of the mineral distribution. So the ICP-MS, the abbreviation, stands for inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry. So what it does is it ionizes blood sample with plasma and measures the elements with a mass spectrometer. So very simplified. So it is a very highly sensitive method, and it allows simultaneous measurement of multiple minerals for detecting trace minerals in the blood. And this is how the machine looks like. So what is important here is we have to have in mind that how the minerals are distributed in the blood. Yeah, is it they're intracellularly present, but also extracellularly. If you look at these minerals depicted here in this example, you can see that they differ where they are present. If you look at the iron, it is in the majority in the cell, so intracellular. If we look, on the other hand, at sodium, sodium is more in the extracellular part. So we have to have this in mind, how the minerals are distributed and are not equally distributed and represented in the blood. So I think this is a good picture. So when we look at the whole blood mineral analysis, we have to ask ourselves, why do we do and why do we need whole blood mineral analysis? First of all, whole blood mineral analysis reflects long-term mineral status because it encompasses intra and extracellular levels. It is more accurate for essential minerals such as magnesium, zinc, and selenium, which are primarily stored in the cells. What is another advantage? It is less susceptible to short-term variability. So it's not significantly influenced by diet or by hydration. So it gives an overall picture of the last months and last years, yeah, so to say. It detects functional mineral deficiencies, so it identifies imbalances that may not appear in serum testing. And what is also very important, it is better for heavy metal exposure assessment because it is more effective in detecting acute toxic metal burden. So here we have an example of a report, how it could look like. We have the whole blood mineral analysis, the parameters that are depicted here with the levels and the reference values, of course. And we also show corrected the parameters and also the index, the quotient, the ratio, so to say. And what is also included is iodine, for example. Yeah, so we can also measure iodine in whole blood, and of course molybdenum, phosphorus, manganese. And here's the interesting part, because we should also look if we have potentially toxic elements, so heavy metals. I mean, it's a very current topic as well, that we are all exposed to toxins and heavy metals, unfortunately. So it's worthwhile to test for a wide range of potentially toxic elements that you can see here in this sample report, from aluminium, arsenic, barium, beryllium to mercury, platinum, uranium, tin, zirconium. So it's good to have a great overview on the metals. So everybody thinks of serum, but as I just said, the whole blood mineral analysis has a great advantage in contrast to the serum analysis. And I will walk you through very quickly what are the differences and compare them to each other. So as I already said, whole blood mineral analysis reflects the long-term status. On the other hand, serum mineral analysis is just just shows short-term changes. So it's just for acute conditions suitable. The whole blood mineral analysis not only measures the extracellular, but also intracellular minerals that serum cannot cover, and it's sensitive to functional deficiency. And in contrast to serum, it is not affected by diet or hydration, recent diet or hydration, and it's also best for heavy metal assessment. But serum analysis is not bad. I mean, it is still useful. It is limited, but very important also in acute conditions, because it provides a snapshot of current mineral levels, making it a valuable tool in emergency. So if a patient is in emergency, we don't recommend doing the whole blood. Serum is the number one to go. But if you want to assess the health of a person holistically, then the whole blood and mineral analysis is the better option. And moreover, serum is also suitable because the standardization is easier. It's serum mineral references. Reference ranges are well established already and widely used in conventional medicine. So this is also a bonus. So this is also important slide to have it back in the mind. But maybe the question will also arise, what about heavy metals in urine? Yes, one can also measure this. Urine is, although generally less suitable for detecting deficiencies. Heavy metals, if you test it in the basal, so unprovoked urine, it shows current exposure and systemic uptake from sources like dental materials or drinking water, or if you work in an environment where there's a lot of heavy metal exposure. So it's also a snapshot of what's currently going on. And then there's also the option of a chelation test. So urine after chelation reveals long-term accumulation and total body burden because it is bound, and is excreted through the body and is shown in the urine. And in the complementary view, urine analysis is an additional tool to whole blood mineral analysis or to general blood analysis by showing excretion patterns and the clearance of these heavy metals or minerals. So as I already mentioned, I will also quickly talk about lithium. Lithium is very well known in the psychiatry field, but it's also a very good preventive parameter to be measured. Here I have depicted lithium in serum versus whole blood because there's a big difference. While the serum analysis of lithium is for the therapeutic level assessment suitable, the whole blood analysis of lithium is for the preventive part. As you can see here, the reference values are completely different also. So to have this in mind, it's also very worthwhile. So the serum is good for drug monitoring. So if you have patients who are currently taking drugs for psychiatric conditions, then serum is perfectly fine. But if you want to use lithium as a preventive measurement, as it has a lot of benefits also, then whole blood is recommended. But the question arises, is testing minerals alone enough? Well, measuring minerals alone provides limited information. It gives us information, but it's limited. For example, if we think about selenoprotein P, it reflects selenium transport and distribution in the body. So it's also important to look at the transport protein and not only on selenium in this example. There are also other transport proteins, for example, for iron, as we all know, copper, etc. So if we include transport proteins to our analysis or to our assessment, it gives us much higher precision in the assessing of the mineral status. Let's stay with the selenium topic. So here's a picture of a paper from the Charité. These are data from 10,000 or almost 11,000 Europeans. And here, what I actually wanted to show is that if you see here on the x-axis, you see the selenium concentration, and on the y-axis, the selenium protein concentrations. And you can see here that the blood selenium, for example, in whole blood or serum, do not correlate linearly with selenoprotein. So selenoprotein acts as a selenium transporter and is a functional biomarker. So despite if seemingly adequate blood selenium levels, only 57% had a protective selenoprotein level. So the rest, 43%, did not have adequate selenoprotein levels. So what's the use of having enough selenium if you don't have the transport protein, right? So, and if we dive deeper into this topic, it's not only the transport protein, but it's also the selenium availability, because our bodies, we can also generate or form autoantibodies against our transport protein, selenoprotein, which in turn can impair selenium transport and availability. And this in turn can lead to many functional disorders also, for example, here affecting the T4, T3 conversion. So that's not a surprise that, yes, selenium deficiency or selenoprotein deficiency is associated with conditions like Hashimoto, chronic fatigue syndrome, long COVID, etc., etc. So it's really important to have a holistic picture of the selenium status with the selenium levels, yes, but also selenium protein and also autoantibodies. Good. So now we covered the minerals, and now we will talk about the vitamins. So if you look at the history a little bit, I don't want to bore you. It's just a short overview. When the vitamins were discovered, it started in 1913, with vitamin A, for example. So you can see over the decades and decades, more and more vitamins were discovered. And that's why nowadays we have the privilege to examine all these vitamins. So if we go now to the evolution of the vitamin detection, Casimir Funk, he was the first one in 1912 who coined the term vitamin. So the word vitamin comes from him. It comes from vital and amine, after identifying the first vitamin to prevent beriberi. Then in a couple years later, additional vitamins were discovered, and the first laboratory detection methods were developed as well. But as you can imagine, the early detection methods, the techniques were very simple. They were based on food or biological samples. But nowadays, as I already mentioned previously, we have modern methods, of course. We have chromatography, spectroscopy, ADI, and this enables accurate and versatile vitamin analysis. I have summarized some vitamin profiles that are used in integrative diagnostics. So we have here vitamin B6, B12, coenzyme Q10, vitamin D3, and folic acid storage status. So this is just as an example. And here as well, the question arises, is vitamin measurement alone enough? We think not, right? So if we look at the example of vitamin D, it's important also here to not only look at the vitamin D status, but also better understand the vitamin D transport and the distribution in the body. So what else is useful for vitamin diagnostics is, in this case, for example, to include vitamin D genetics to give more personalized insights. And also what we should also have in mind that cofactors, they also influence vitamin activation and their effectiveness. So what we can conclude is vitamin levels alone do not provide the full picture. So it is necessary to have a combined assessment, because then we can significantly improve the diagnostic precision. So what else? What we can see here is that, let's stay with the vitamin D example. There are interactions, So we have interactions in the vitamin D metabolism. So the diagnostic can serve us in this way that we can look at the different forms of vitamin D3. We can see what else, like calcium, how is the calcium status, magnesium, which is also a very important factor in the vitamin D metabolism, zinc, phosphor, and vitamin K, of course. And if you have this holistic picture of the blood of the patient, you can improve also the treatment outcomes. So this is very important to have in mind. So this was my part, and now I will give the turn to Dr. Heiko Hofmann. Enjoy.
Okay, now the second part is me. Hello, everyone. So now we're going to talk about how the minerals and vitamins come into the body. We talk about stool. Beware that I have a PhD in microbiology, and I love talking about stool, but there will be more topics tonight as well. So when we look for the history in this area, the microbiology began 150 years ago with Robert Koch, who said we can culture microorganisms. Ever also Louis Pasteur in Paris did the same time. Yeah, they said microbiology is positive. You know this from the university. That is classical things. But coming to the base, what we do today, in this First World War, there were a lot of injured people, and Dr. Nissel, he found transferring stool from patients that survived the injuries to others helped. And that was the invention of the first microbiology therapeutics, the E. coli strain Nissel from 1917, which is used for treatment for patients who have a lack of E. coli since the 1950s. It's called Mutaflor, is a German name for this product. Then it's nice to have a therapy, but we're a laboratory. It's also good to have a look what is really in to do. So in the 50s, there was one laboratory in Germany that said it's the bacteria are key for healthy life. Not only looking for Salmonella, Campylobacter, Shigella, all these bad things, but looking for healthy things. E. coli, for lactobacillus, bifidobacterium. So they started to culture bacteria for this. It's a long time. This is now 70 years old when they started with this one. Go on, and bacteria are important for our health, and not only looking for bad ones, looking for good ones, as I just mentioned before. And it's the same principle in soil, in agriculture, or in the human body. We need good bacteria for the skin, for the mouth, for all the microbiomes we have in our body. Now here we are mostly on the intestinal health. So also some invented this to look at a few bacteria, to have a look on 13 different bacteria. And for decades, this was only possible to test for positive and some negative bacteria to check. We said 13 bacteria, that is the microbiome. Then you do a few fungi with this, Candida and others, look a bit at stool properties. That was the history of old style stool diagnosis. Then that is how it looks. You add a few biochemical markers, how the patient is digesting. This is for decades. This was offered to we and others all over Europe as a test for the intestinal profile. Then in 2012, we started to add some anaerobic bacteria as well. Here you have two, and this was the best we had in 2012. But then my boss in 2015 said, Heiko, let's go next word. Go more precision, do modern style. Is 13 bacteria the full microbiome? No, it's not. If you look at a few microbiomes or a few bacteria only, then you only have the above. You have culture, you have the top of the ice. What you see here, that's all you see. You see 13 of 1,000 different bacteria. And that is all you need for a treat patient? No, it's not. It was the best to have decades before, but in 2015, we were the first in Central Europe to introduce genetic testing, NGS, sequencing-based testing for microbiomes. This happened there. Now we have version 3 already, and at the moment we are doing 100,000 microbiome testing per year from all over the world, from Mongolia to Ecuador, from Norway to Cape Town in South Africa, and also in Romania, by the way. Not only there. So that's how it looks. It gives the impression of 500 to 1,000 different bacteria. So anaerobic, aerobic bacteria, good ones, bad ones. That's what we really do. You can see here, even there, we sort them by groups, what they can, by bacterial groups, by metabolome groups. We sort them out. And for this, Romina didn't mention, maybe for all of those, we always have a good therapy recommendation. You will never walk alone. It's not only giving the report, it's always coming with this here. Then in 2018, I went to the customer and said, Heiko, we see the parasites, all of our patients are parasites, and the laboratory shows them. We said, hey, we have to do PCR for parasites. So when we started this, 30% of all of our stool samples we're receiving in-house worldwide are positive for parasites in stool. That is what we have here. It was the next step in innovation in 2018. Again, the first to do this in the market here. And then we have the metabolome groups sorting bacteria by what they could do. At the moment, I could breathe. You don't know. I'm doing, yes, as you can see, I'm talking to you. So we do the groups of good ones or bad ones. You see here ammonia, gas producers. So that's what we did there. We deduced also the functional groups, what the bacteria could do. That's what we did there. We also did the microbiome. We went away from just doing fungi by culture, because this is dependent on transportation, on stability, on cold and hot. We do it by PCR since 2021. That is the actual request form. We did the microbiome here, the relevant yeast test in stool. And also we added worms, because from time to time you have patients, they see something in stool, or they live with pets, or they have animals in the house around. So that's what we also do, but only like 1% of the patients are positive for worms in our laboratory. And then it's nice to have all these tests, all these sophisticated tests. We are part of developing probiotics all over Europe. We are helping these companies to develop functional probiotics, specific probiotics, really having probiotics turning out what they can do. Yeah, we will have a seminar on this next year also on probiotic and microbiome. This is shortly. We're going more and more. For example, my daughter has histamine problems. And you could say she's 20. Until you die, you have to live histamine-free. You say, Daddy, you're the best. I like this. The next 70 or 50 years, I have to live without histamine. No, we can measure histamine in stool, but we can give advice, histamine degrading bacteria by probiotics. I did this to her, and it helped her very much. And Christmas, I have to buy the next probiotics for her, again, for histamine problems. And yes, that's how it is. Also here, we're working together with the Microbiome Center in the Netherlands. They're doing individual pre- and probiotic mixtures for patients based on the Biovis report. Fully individual. It's not coming one package for all. So no, it's very, very individual based on the anamnesis and the report of Biovis, and then they do the report and the product for the patients. That's something we also started 3 years ago. So really what we do here, this is now we have special prebiotics, fibers, as we say. We have special probiotics, and they're recommended based on the reports on the patient. We have personalized probiotics. We know there's tryptophan degrading strains, equal producing, vitamin B12 producing strains, vitamin K2 producing strains. For example, myself, I was taking a probiotic for a while and I feel better afterwards. I said, Heiko, you're crazy believing on probiotics? No, it's not. Now I know that this probiotic is producing tryptophan, and having more tryptophan in the gut makes more serotonin, and said, oh, I'm more happy. That's how it is. So from time to time, I take this. And now this is the next level. This is the highest level now. Again, we are the first laboratory to offer this in Central Europe. We look for the bacteria, but we also look who is there, but also what they do. This is the bacterial metabolites in stool. That's what we really measure. We look if good ones or bad ones coming out. The next step in precision really go on. Look, if I'm dead or alive, my DNA is human. Ötzi, you maybe know from the mountains in Italy, he is still human. His DNA says he's human, but doesn't say that he is breathing, still living, it's just human. It's the same with bacteria. To look really what is coming out, what they're producing. This is the next level we started this year. This is high level if you are not used to a microbiome yet, but just to show where the things going on. You see here, because you maybe know about the gut-brain axis, the gut-kidney axis, the gut-brain heart axis, gut-bone axis. The interaction between the gut and these organs is by metabolites. The brain needs butyrate, for example. Other need butyrate, they need other precursors, they have to be fed, their anti-inflammatory substances are coming around. That's what we do. That's what we started this year. And this is what I just explained, the different axes, gut, kidney, lung, liver, whatever, bile acids, short-chain fatty acids, LPS, good and bad ones are coming. And all this, the gut, the bacteria are not going to the brain. The metabolites are going to the brain. The metabolites are the blood stream going around the body. That's what we see, really, the metabolite. That's what is produced and makes the effect of the gut. So that is really something new. Look here, you can say this is really, we have a very good insight. And when you start therapy, the microbiome, it needs months to change. The metabolome, already after 2 weeks, you can see changes, and these things really can do a more target approach. We can detect toxins. If you have, for example, all of us, we now have Clostridium difficile in stool. Everyone here has. But the most of you are not producing toxin A and B. So just to say you have Clostridium difficile is nothing. The interesting thing is you have toxins or not. That is the indication for treatment. And we are really doing these toxins, different ones I'm going to show you, and we can influence the metabolic pathway by nutrition, by probiotics, by prebiotics, by toxin binders, whatever. We have a fully recommendation based on integrative medicine. Yeah, and also here, Romina started with the vitamins and minerals. It's like having a car. If you have enough gasoline in the car, is your car driving? Maybe. What we really do, we're looking for pathways. Like I just explained with the gut, we also do this in other organs. You can see here, we start to measure neurotransmitters. We want to, what's going on? What is going on in the brain? It's not easy to have brain biopsy. I don't want to have a brain biopsy myself, by the way. But so in the 50s, they started to really look for neurotransmitters. How can we measure them? How can we look for the precursors? This has developed a lot in the 60s and 70s. And nowadays, we can measure neurotransmitters in urine by mass spectrometry. That is the way we are doing here in-house, also since a few years. I'm going to show what we're doing. So we started with these kind of assays. You can see here 2 different reports. The first one, adrenaline high, noradrenaline high, dopamine high. Someone who maybe has to give a lecture tonight for Romania, then you're full of adrenaline. But the second one is the burnout. He has done too much seminars, maybe. So here you can see he's fully out of all his neurotransmitters. We can see this. Then we know how to help the patient. This was the situation like in 2012. We have done this kind. We really did the neurotransmitters in urine since 2012. But now we say, okay, you don't have serotonin. What is the reason for this? You're a bad guy, you're an unlucky guy, whatever happened. No, the precursor for tryptophan for serotonin is tryptophan. And you need B6 to convert tryptophan into serotonin. You know this. So we are looking for tryptophan, we're looking for B6, and we're looking for serotonin. So we really can see what is the reason why this patient has no serotonin. It's the same with the other neurotransmitters. If you have no amino acids, you have no adrenaline. And for example, converting noradrenaline and adrenaline, you need vitamin C and B12. So we really can see the lack is here. We're now doing assays, having 34 different parameters from one single urine sample, neurotransmitters, precursors, cofactors, mitochondrial health, and inflammation. Because sometimes I'm out of energy. It could be mitochondrial health, it could be neurotransmitters, and it could be inflammation you don't know. So we really look for a big picture to have this here. Yeah, this, for example, is a report someone, you see here is full on neurotransmitters. Stress like hell, whatever, you can see everything is high. We always show the picture to explain the background. The first time you do this it's complicated, but when you do it a few times, it's very, very interesting. Yeah. And as I mentioned before, you always, it is in German, but you always get a recommendation showing what to do with tryptophan missing, and if the enzymes are not correct, whatever, step by step. We describe this really, what to do, whatever to do. I can tell you, I have done this to my future Romanian son-in-law. He was exhausted because his grandfather died, and then he had COVID. And my daughter called me, "Oh, Daddy, he's so tired. Every night he comes home, he's so tired. I've done this." He eats a lot of meat. I don't know why. Maybe you have an explanation for this. And I looked at the report. Everything was fine, but he had no vitamin B3. And said, my daughter, "Hey, please give him vitamin B3. And it will take like 2 weeks and he's going to feel better." And after 1 week, she called me and said, "Daddy, you know what? He's feeling much better now." I said, "Yes, I knew, because we have seen that his problem is a lack of vitamin B3. And it really helps." So this is quite good. You always can see where's the problem, where to go. It's a lack of tryptophan, mitochondria problem, whatever. These things we can see in the reports. So also here, I just mentioned mitochondria. This is urine. We look for factors by factors, and we're looking for pathways. Now we look for function. Also here, come to the next step. That's what we do here. You maybe all know about the mitochondria. You have learned this in biochemistry in your studies. That is the respiratory chain in the mitochondria giving us energy to listen and to talk tonight. That is how it works in the mitochondria. I give a lot of lectures on this. I will do one next year together with the company Zenit, clearly. Looking forward to this one here. And by a car, coming back to the vitamins, minerals. This is a car. This is a fake car, by the way. If you have a lot of gasoline in the tank, maybe you're going to drive. If you have oil in the engine, maybe it's going to drive. If you have tires in the car, it's maybe going to drive. What we do here, we test the function of mitochondria in our house. You will get blood from Romania, and then we're going to test this in-house. Here, we are staining the mitochondria. This is fully, let's say, high advanced testing for exhausted patients. Okay? And this is what we do here. On the right side, all the mitochondria are stained correctly. It's very nice. On the left side, you see many of these mitochondria losing stain. You will never see this again. It's just to explain what we are doing in the laboratory. This is a patient who is sick for 20 years. He is not on work anymore because I said, "You cannot work, you have no energy." And they have given him antidepressants. He stayed at home, whatever. Here you can see it's in German, but I'm going to explain. Only 49% of the mitochondria are working. 51% are dead or damaged. It's like your car. If you have 4 cylinders in your engine and 2 are not working, your car will not drive. It's the same here. So for these patients, you have to generate new mitochondria. We see this, we test this. That's what we're doing. And again, here, you can see here we're doing a recommendation for oral therapy, for infusions, also for fasting, for sports, whatever. It depends on the report what we are recommending. And then in 2019, we did the next step. It's nice to stain the mitochondria. So how do I do it? We want to full speed driving, slow down, whatever. That is the BHI, as we call it, the mitochondrial bioenergetic profile. This is since 2019. Again, we are testing this in-house by inhibitors for the more biochemistries under here. So we are, for example, testing the membrane. How is the membrane doing in the mitochondria? Is good or bad? In the mitochondria, we have hydrogen. In the barrier, the membrane. If the membrane is not working, the mitochondria is not working. It's the same here with a water dam. On the top, you can see you have the water on one side of the membrane, on the wall. Then it's the engine, and then it's producing energy. The same with the mitochondria. You have hydrogen, you have the membrane, and the complex 5 is producing energy. If you have this point on the right side, if the dam is damaged, whatever, I don't want to go to then it's not working at all. It's the same in your patient. Then you have to repair the membrane of the mitochondria. And also we are doing full speed with the mitochondria. We're testing what they are doing. We call it maximum speed, maximum respiration in our case. How good. For example, maybe you're going to work together with your colleague. You could see, "Oh, I'm going home, I have to sleep." You say, "Oh, I now go out with the dog and I have to go for jogging for 30 minutes. So you have the same basal level of energy, but the maximum is much different. That's what we really see here in-house. And again, if the patients don't have a good speed, no maximum precinct is bad, then we have to give cofactors for the mitochondria. Vitamin B3, as I mentioned before with my son-in-law, vitamin B12, vitamin B6, Q10, you have to give the minerals, whatever. That's also in our recommendations inside. That's what we're doing. From this, we do a BHI index and calculating this. And for example, to show this, there's a bad example you will not see too often in your life. There's a child with a genetic mitochondrial disease. The 5-year-old brother has a clear diagnosis by biopsy of a mitochondrial genetic disease. So we tested this young 2-year-old children. You can see all the values, basal rate, maximum, everything is low. Why? Because the mitochondria are not working. This kid, these children, we have to give mitoceuticals, as we call them, things for the mitochondria all lifelong. Again, I will do a presentation on this in the next year together with Zenit and maybe with Gabriela. We'll see. She will do a little bit on the patient side. Also here, it's in German, but again, oral therapy, infusions, whatever. So it's different things inside recommendation what we're doing. And clearly, there's a lot of things to do. It's not only Q10, it's not only B12. When my mother she's dead already for a long term. When she was tired, she went to a doctor to have a vitamin syringe, a vitamin B12 injection. But vitamin B12 is one little part of all of this, what happens in the mitochondria. We'll learn more and more every day, and you will learn about this next year in one of our lectures. Okay, this is a little bit what we do for the mitochondria, activate mitochondria, improve oxidation of the mitochondria, improve ATP production energy with my son-in-law, B3, generating new mitochondrial biogenesis, activating the detoxification of the mitochondria. All of this we can do. For all of this, we have clearly recommendation depending on this. So the last thing, then we're almost over. There was a lot of topics tonight. It's immunology, infectious disease, how we go on there. So that is what usually is done. I was at my doctor's office 2 weeks ago because I'm 57. I want to have a checkup. That's what they do. They have a blood cell count. And then if this is okay, you're healthy, you feel good? No, it's nothing. It's very easy. It's not personalized. It's not precise. It's good for leukemia. It's good for anemia. It's good after chemotherapy, but it says nothing about if the patient has energy, patient has good, whatever. It just gives a little, it's cheap, but it's not precise. It's very easygoing diagnostics. So we have done here we have a lot of things in immune diagnostics, immune status, TNF-alpha inhibition test for inflammation markers, NK cell function test, and also for monitoring of the immune defense. For example, this is Lyme serology. You know this. You do antibodies, that's all you have. But only 30% of the patients they were having Lyme are developing antibodies. 70% you will not see. It's cheap, it's easy. So we are doing T-cell tests for Lyme disease based on LTT or ELISpot. It's a complicated, I wouldn't explain, but this is the T-cell reaction on Lyme disease. So we have much more positives than just doing serology, especially if you say, Heiko, I think this patient really has Lyme, but the serology is negative, what to do? Then this is a good idea to go on with this. Now, the problem is, in front of you, the patient has a problem. Does he only has Lyme? No, that's not it. Often they have more problems, and you do a Lyme test is negative, serology, T-cell, what you do. So we invented a multi-pathogen test. We are testing the reaction on the patient on 21 different pathogens, bacteria, virus, molds, and parasites at once. To really look, so if it's Lyme or Borrelia negative, it still can be chlamydia, whatever. I just had a case, Lyme was negative, but chlamydia and mycoplasma was positive. And often it's not bacteria, then they have virus, they have CMV, they have EBV or BCV, or they have molds, parasites. It's quite often there. This is a case from the Netherlands. This is in Dutch, by the way, the next language to introduce. The doctor called me from Belgium and says, Heiko, look here, I have a problem. This patient had no energy. We have no reason for this. And said, please do the multi-pathogen test. You can see here, this patient is positive for 2 different kinds of Lyme. He's positive for chlamydia, and he's positive for Giardia lambert. So here you have to treat on bacteria, and you have to treat on parasites. It's much more than just bacteria if you would not test for the parasite as well. And this is the T cell reaction. Everything else is fine. And also we have some general inflammation markers. Or this one also, molds. You know, people living in old houses, in farmhouses, they maybe work in on the land side, the countryside. They often have problems with molds. We will also have the same principle, testing 12 molds and certain mycotoxins based on T cell tests. So it's much more than just doing 1 or 2, or it's not a culture. Here we're testing the reaction of the immune system on the molds and the mycotoxins. I'm going to show you one case. So no, it's not in here. I forgot to bring the slide in. I had a customer, we did it, said, Heiko, I am lacking energy. What to do? I said, please do this. The molds were all negative and 5 mycotoxins were positive. He describes that, Heiko, on my foot, I have an infection on my nail since months. And there seems to be a problem. And his immune system is a reaction on the mycotoxins produced by the molds in his foot nails. So these things we're doing. So now one bad thing, well, be aware I'm a former laboratory. I enjoy doing. This is what happens here in-house. The first one, these are blood sample coagulated in, wow, very bad. The second one is someone did a stool sample in a blood tube with gel inside. Should we do stool analysis or gel analysis? What do you really want? Don't do this. This is very bad. Or number 3 is their blood was done in a urine tube. Is also quite bad. Don't do this. So usually we will provide you free of charge with the material. So that's bad stuff. So if you want to have a precise, modern, very good diagnostics, don't start with these things. Gabriela, myself, and Romina, we will give you advice. We also have trainings and brochures on pre-analytics. That is quite important. Okay, now we're almost at the end. Biovis is in Romania active since more than 10 years. We have a lot of existing customers. We have existing customers. One of the nicest ones here is Gabriela from CBU. She will introduce herself maybe later on. And what we're working on at the moment is really to organize blood collection centers all over Romania. Gabriela is one of those. In CBU, Bucharest, we have worked in Cluj. Sorry about my pronunciation. I'm not the perfect Romanian yet. I have to improve this one. And we also have a partner for stool diagnostics all over Romania. We are planning, as I just mentioned, Romina and myself, to give seminars together with CNIT next year. Also other seminars there. We're happy to come with Gabriela, with Professor Stosier, with Sydney. We will do this next year. And if you have questions to the lecture, you can send emails to info@biovis.de. Yeah. And please attention, Dr. Vardapour, Dr. Hofmann, will come in and we're happy to help you. So, Heiko, that's a lot of things tonight. We have a lot of English brochures at our webpage. We only have German, English, and Dutch. We don't have Romanian yet. We're working on this. One thing to go, but you can have this. So it's a lot of background on these things. We have those. So, Heiko, this was interesting, but I don't want to wait until next year. In our webinar sections, we have like 20 to 25 seminars, webinars in English, serotonin, herpes virus, chronic fatigue syndrome, together with different lectures. Just last night, we had a topic of neuroinflammation. You can register it and look directly there in the Biovis TV in English. And so to summarize, there was a lot tonight. So the laboratory diagnosis has evolved a lot in vitamins, in minerals, in microbiome, in neurotransmitters, in mitochondrial health and immunology. And this is clearly due to a lot of new technologies. Microbiome was not possible 30 years ago. It's not. I got my PhD for one single gene today, but this is now 30 years ago. One gene was fine. Today you have to do a lot of gene gains. There will be much more, but clearly having innovative diagnostics is good. We need innovative recommendations, but with CNIT and our partners, it's good to really also use therapy, because without therapy, ideas, treatments, what is available in your country, in Romania, this is very important. And for example, Gabriela and others can give you advice on this. We have other partners that's good to have. So we really wanted the challenge is to bring this to more people, because we have a lot of exhausted people. In Germany, we have more than 11 million people having IBS symptoms, so a lot there. And we would like to have access to these people to offer this. They don't have to do it. It's just an offer to do this, what we are offering here, and that's what we have. So thanks a lot. I would like to thank a few people. The slide is gone, but it's not bad. It's Professor Schütz. He has founded this institute we're in at the moment. It's my colleague from the laboratory. It's the company Zenit who organized this seminar tonight. It's Gabriela. Gabriela, thanks a lot. Also to Philip, he's not here tonight. He's maybe in the background, you never know. And yes, and also to Paul, we had a very nice discussion last week about the future of integrative medicine, and Paul is was very nice. I enjoyed a lot. And now we're ready for questions. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thank you very much, Heiko, and thank you, Romina. I'm back. I had some technical problems and I couldn't be with you at the beginning of the webinar, but I joined at some point. Thank you for giving us an amazing overview of a wide range of advanced diagnostic approaches, from the microbiome and metabolome analysis to mitochondrial functional testing, whole blood mineral and vitamin diagnosis. I'm very happy that you accepted to share with the Romanian colleagues the most important functional lab test from Biovis. I think it's very important for us as practitioners to know that to know what means, what kind of tools we have at our disposal in order to have accurate answers to our clinical questions. And I think your presentations were amazing, like always, because I didn't have the opportunity to say at the beginning that I work with Biovis since I think 7 years now, since I used to live in Switzerland. And Biovis, I mean, the results that I received from Biovis helped me a lot to grow and to develop myself as a practitioner in functional medicine. And that's why I thank you for being here with us tonight. I didn't have the opportunity to thank Zenit and Paula Ilinke, who is through his platform Better Medicine always supporting the growth of quality medicine in Romania. And as Jetta said at the beginning, Zenit is behind a lot of important projects, important medical projects here, like the orthomolecular course and the endobiogeny course. Romina and Heiko, there are some questions, and I don't know, I'm going to read the first of them. Maybe you could answer, maybe Heiko. Someone is asking how advisable it is to undergo colon hydrotherapy in the long term with regard to the microbiome. Are there any long-term studies?
No, not really. I know some private information and some general information. First of all, you may be really surprised. I have a patient, she's a former friend of mine. She did 50 colon hydrotherapy because she was really, the colon was very bad condition. She was taking a lot of vitamins and minerals, but it didn't work anymore. There's no just taking it, but and she was with a doctor in Frankfurt, where my daughter is also living. She's also her doctor, and you have to do this for many times. Yes, you can do this, but always be aware, if you do colon hydrotherapy, you can do the good ones and the bad ones. So you always have to treat the good ones. It's not when you get easy. You dig and then you have to basics and get new things. So we recommend always give probiotics, give probiotics, as you say, look for food, and because it's the same as toxic, it's in the colon. If you're changing them, you have to change to do good things. But if you don't do it, the best thing for the they come out again. So take the time. It's good to do. It's a question of this. It's a question of the patient. If he takes the collaborative, as a patient, I'm not sure, but it's a good thing to do. Yeah, and we have a lot of good stories from therapists and also from patients. I just told you about my friend. She said, Heiko, I can feel much better since I've done this. So this we have this a lot, but this is my personal thing.
Thank you very much, Heiko, for answering. There is another question from the audience. Herr Ivanov is asking, where can we order the gut microbiome test?
The easy thing, you're going to write an email to info@biovis.de, then we're going to reply to this. You can have a look on our webpage. There you biovis.de. There you can see the information coming up. I showed just some of the brochures. There you can see this. And if you write an email to us, then we can.
Thank you very much. Let's see if there are more questions. No, I think, Jetta, what do you think? Are there more questions? Because from what I see, I think
it's a question from Mrs. Arvei Angelica about mitochondria. Do you see?
Yes, there is a question about mitochondria. A colleague of us is asking. She's commenting that the mitochondrial test is very interesting. It has a personal question about herself. She has very good standard tests, including vitamin D3. But she's very pale and she's not fit enough. Are they necessary? Would it be necessary to do more tests? This is the question.
That's exactly what I told you about the car. Vitamin D is okay, but if vitamin D okay, you're not okay. It's just vitamin D is okay. It's one thing. That's the reason why we go more and more to this metabolic pathway and the functional test. Personally, I would recommend to go to one of the blood-taking centers in Sibiu or Bucharest. Gabriela has a lot of knowledge about this. Really have to look into the function of the mitochondria, where they have a problem in generating energy. I will do this, and also Gabriela can give you advice what to do. We have a lot of these. We have a lot of these patients. Really can have by infusions, by oral therapy. It's different approaches you can look for. It takes a while. Also, if you're really lacking energy. But I will do this. Personally, I can tell you I'm not ill, but I had to give a few lectures last week, this week a lot of lectures. So when I come home, I take my Q10. I have a liquid Q10 at home. I also have some capsules of Q10 at home. I take this, and I know I need energy, and I also add some B vitamins. I have a B complex at home. I also do this because having lectures behind me, having new lectures in front of me, I need energy. So that's good. But in your case, if you really feel this for a longer term, I not just would give, I really would do the functional test for mitochondria. And if you like, we can do a call, Romina, myself, with Gabriela and you, we can explain. But again, I'm only speaking English and German. I don't speak Romanian yet. I'm working with this.
For the moment, Heiko. For the moment, you don't speak Romanian. Maybe it's coming.
Not yet, yes. But what you could also complement this mitochondria test is what I showed you in the beginning in my part, that the vitamin D metabolism, what parameters are actually relevant, and the test of these parameters would also complement the mitochondria testing as well, to see the cofactors of vitamin D.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Paul Ailinke has a question, a very interesting one, a tricky one. He says, what tests can be performed to determine a patient's susceptibility to developing severe forms of COVID-19 or not? Tricky one.
Oh, that's a very good question. It's different. Let's do 3 different topics. First of all, we know that people start with the gut. We know that people having gut problems, IBS, they have a high rate of COVID infection in the gut, and they often suffer from gut symptoms of COVID-19. Okay. The second thing is people having autoimmune problems already, or having, let's say, autoimmune situation, they often react with autoimmune. They generate autoantibodies against receptors in the body, adrenergic receptor, muscarinic receptor. So having immune system, often they know, oh, I react on this, I'm allergic on this. When you have a lot of reactions already, they're really victims to get a high reaction on this. And number 3 is having no energy. That is always what happens with all viral infections. If you have no energy, it becomes more and more bad. Personally, 20 years ago, I had a very bad flu. I had 4 days of 39 degrees, which is not bad for you, but it was for me bad. And after the 4 days, I wanted to go shopping. I was totally out of power. I was fighting viral infection, and often people have less energy, they have more problems. The infection takes much longer because there's no energy. So energy is a point, that is a point, and let's say in general, autoimmune allergic situation, it's a point here. But really,
Heiko, I think if you don't speak close to the microphone, we can't hear you very well. We can't understand what you say.
Okay.
Now it's better.
It's better. Okay, good. Don't have to go.
Perfect. Now it's perfect. Yes. Thank you. Sorry.
No problem. That's okay. But did you get the 3 points? So gut is an issue. If you have gut problems, you get gut problems. If you have autoimmune problems or allergic problems, you get immune reactions. If you have no energy, it will take long to get rid of the coronavirus or the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think now it's good. I think now you understood what Dr. Hofmann said, because someone wrote in the chat that they can't understand you because of the sound. But I think at the end it was okay.
Should I repeat?
I think in the end, I think it was okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. We have another question. Yes, there is a question about tests. Do you have tests related to estrogens?
Yes,
you do.
We have classical hormones in blood. We do hormones in the liver for some patients, and we also, especially for cancer patients, we have estrogen metabolites. Let's say it's not only having hormones. For cancer patients, it's quite important what happens with the hormones in the body. There it's important to look for the estrogen metabolites. What comes out is a urine test. And also, maybe this is not the point major for you, but I've given lectures on microbiome hormone axis. Also, the microbiome is important for hormones by the glucuronidase and by the E. coli producing bacteria. This, just to explain, there is a microbiome estrogen axis. I have a full lecture on this. One day I can give it, but it's also important. There's different issues here with hormones and tests you can do. It depends where you want to do, and first you can check what is there. In cancer patients, I always look for the metabolism, and in patients having low or high amounts of hormones, which is not to explain by their age, then you really can check for the gut and the estrogen gut axis. So it's different approaches where to go.
Thank you very much.
Well, Gabriel, I don't know what you think, but for the cancer patient, for the hormone-dependent cancers, I always would go for the estrogen metabolites. If you say, Heiko, I just want to check my hormones, I want to get pregnant, whatever, something like this, or the man want to check for the testosterone, you don't need this. For cancer patient, it's perfect. Then I would. So it depends on what you want to know, then it's fine.
I totally agree with you, Heiko. I'm testing the estrobolome, and I'm also I'm testing the hormones in the saliva for the rest of the situations when we want to evaluate if someone has a hormonal disturbance, or if we want to use bioidentical hormone therapy. And I find your tests absolutely amazing. I mean, they're extremely accurate. I find always a correlation between the results that I receive from the lab and the patient that I have in front of me. I find this amazing, and I have to say it open that not only about these tests, about the hormone tests, but also about the neurotransmitters, about everything that I work with you since so many years. They are absolutely amazing tests, and it's very nice for us as practitioners to have such amazing tools that confirm our intuitive questions. I mean, our clinical questions, and to find out that the patient really has a problem and it's not just psychological or psychiatrical. You know, they come to us with real problems, and with your tests we can really find out what is wrong. It's like detective work, but it's amazing. So there is another question. Is the laboratory also testing organic acids?
Yes, we do. Actually, I wanted, if it's okay, I would like to share the screen to show you our portfolio, if that's fine. Because then I can explain better. 1 second. Here, I hope everybody can see. So on our website, we have our request form with a lot of tests. And here you can see also here what we just mentioned, the hormonal tests and the estrogen metabolites that we just mentioned. And then we have infection diagnostics, and the organic acids is on the top. I have to go back. I just wanted to show you the overview. We go backwards. It's up. Yeah. So here we can see we have a complete profile of organic acids, which is tested in urine. So the T928 is urine, and with the help of these organic acids, you can also make an assessment on the mitochondrial health and also energy levels, methylation capacity, and and amino acid metabolism. So this is our complete profile on organic acids. So this is the long answer on the questions there.
By the way, as I mentioned before, you can meet us live, not online, in Bucharest at the end of November. Gabriela or Georgetta, can you say something to the meeting maybe? We're going to be there.
I wanted to say something. Yes, I really wanted to say something about this, but I didn't have the chance because of my technical problems. But yes, I wanted to announce that you can meet personally Romina and Heiko in Bucharest in the second course of orthomolecular medicine. This is going to happen in Bucharest between 28th and 30th of November, and you could have the chance there to ask directly questions and to meet them personally. Yes, and we are happy that soon we were going to meet. After many years, Heiko, we were going to meet personally.
And I'm happy to get to know you finally in person. Yes, thank you very much.
We have another question. Shall we proceed? Yes. Julia Ferenc, that you know, Heiko, she's asking, yes, a very interesting question. How does gut microbiome composition and host FMO3 regulation together determine TMAO levels, and is TMAO a true causal driver of cardiovascular diseases, or just a marker of dysbiosis and dietary patterns? Can you read the question also yourself? Do you see it?
Yes, yes, I can see. It's as I told you, they are different. The gut is the central organ. We are eating, and what we eat is not only giving nutrition. Things are produced in the gut. There's one thing we call TMAO. This is smell of bad fish. You maybe know, but that's produced. The gut bacteria can produce this TMA, is released, and then the liver is oxidized to TMAO. And this seems to make cardiovascular risk or cardiovascular inflammation. We have seen two things. First of all, it was shortly in my metabolome part. Inside there, you can see the metabolome groups in the microbiome report. There we show the amount of TMAO producing bacteria, and we clearly can also measure TMAO. That's there, but there's a lot of publications showing the risk for this. That is one of my lectures, included in my lecture on gut microbiome and heart disease. There's a TMAO inside, also other things. It's one of the important things for inflammation there, and it has very well shown that this plays a role. And a bad microbiome is bad for the heart and for the cardiovascular system. Also, there's a lot of publications showing butyrate. You maybe know the smell of sweat. It's butyric acid, or butyrate, as we say. It's important. It's a good. It's anti-inflammatory. It's a good for the heart and the cardiovascular system. TMAO is bad. It's a bad smell, by the way. But it's, let's say, also gives these cardiovascular problems. No, it's not a marker of dysbiosis. It's really, it indicates that there's a problem. And we really often see this in patients having heart or cardiovascular problems.
Yes, I agree.
Also, the microbiome is also associated with cardiovascular disorders. So it's very
absolutely. Thank you very much. There is a question again. Someone would like to do some tests. Intestinal microbiome, neurotransmitters, organic acid tests, a lot of tests. However, I currently don't have a doctor who can interpret these tests and provide me with a diagnosis and a personalized treatment plan. Could you please let me know if your laboratory has doctors or specialists who could help me with the interpretation of the results, diagnosis, and personalized treatment recommendations?
In Romania, Gabriela would be a good choice, first of all. Second of all, if you say, I don't like to work with Gabriela, what I don't understand, but that's, let's do it in general. We also have a hotline for therapists. We don't have a hotline for patients. If you say, Dr. Hofmann, we have a problem here in this result, or I have a patient with migraine, what to do? Or look, this values, I don't understand the values. We have a hotline. We have 17 people there in German. We also have a few speaking English. Romina and myself will also assist you. If you really have questions, we're ready to help. We can recommend you a therapist in Romania directly, like Gabriela. She's very nice and good one. And also, and also others. We can help you with it. It depends. You can send in, and we'll try to help you with these questions. How to do? Again, we're not advising patients. We're only advising. We are a professional medical laboratory. We are only, our customers are doctors and therapists. We're not working with patients directly. That's not what we do, because I cannot treat a patient in Romania directly. We need help. There have to be examinations. We don't know. We give advice to the therapist. That's the way we do. But sometimes the therapists are the patients. Then clearly they get advice as therapists.
I don't know if Mrs. Jeku, the one who asked, if she's also a doctor, or if she's just a person who from the audience who wants to do those tests. But if you want to do those tests, of course you can come to Sibiu, you can come to us. If you are a therapist, if you are a doctor, you can also receive from the lab some therapeutic conclusions with some recommendations. that you could use in order to start the treatment. But this is recommended only if you are a doctor yourself. Otherwise, it's better to ask someone who has more experience with this test to guide you. Yes. Jetta, what do you think? Are there many other questions? Or
no, there aren't. I think we can stop. Thank you very much, Romina. Thank you very much, Heiko. Thank you, Gabriela. It was a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you, and we'll see you in Bucharest.
Yes.
Mulțumim.
Looking forward to it. Oh, there's another question.
There's another question? No, just congratulations. Congratulations for you.
Mulțumesc. It was a pleasure being here, and thank you, Gabriela. Thank you, Georgeta. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to the audience.
Mulțumim foarte mult tuturor celor care au fost alături de noi. Așa cum ați auzit, ne vedem la sfârșitul lui noiembrie la modulul al doilea al cursului de medicină ortomoleculară. Atunci la București vor veni și dr. Romina Vardapour și dr. Heiko Hofmann. La fel, acolo va fi și Gabriela. Cei care doresc să se înscrie, a fost o întrebare aici în chat. Eu am lăsat linkul pentru înscriere. Cine mai vrea să se înscrie ne poate contacta, știți cum ne găsiți. Mulțumim foarte mult, mulțumim încă o dată, Gabriela, mulțumim invitațiilor din Germania, mulțumim celor care au fost alături de noi și până data viitoare, toate cele bune și la revedere. Bye bye!
La revedere! Seară frumoasă, la revedere!